Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with an article from PJ Media dated August 25th. It says, "The War on Words, How Manufactured Euphemisms Corrupt Our Common Language." And, well, you can see the picture of this man right here. If you don't know who that is George Orwell, the guy who wrote Animal Farm, 1984, and other stuff as well. And yeah, it's kind of right that... appropriate that he is the picture for the article, so let's get into it. It says, words are code for the mind. Change the word, and you change the thought. Change the thought, and you change the action that follows. This was the logic behind the person-first language that emerged in the nonprofit world. A disabled person became a person with a disability. A homeless man became a person without shelter. At its best, this reminded us that individuals deserve dignity. At its worst, it twisted language into unwieldy shapes. But even in this early form, the seed was planted. Words were not just descriptions, they were instruments of perception. And there's a good George Carlin skit that he did a while ago. I can't remember what special it's on right off the top of my head, but he talks about euphemistic language as well, and specifically around like post-traumatic stress disorder, but starting out that it used to be called like shell shock, then it was battle fatigue, then post-traumatic stress disorder, and just keeps going on about how it's changed to soften the language. If you haven't heard that, I would just go, first of all, it's George Carlin, go listen to it anyway, but I'm sure you could find that clip on YouTube. Just search like George Carlin euphemistic language or euphemisms or something. Anyway, off tangent, back to article. So from there, the seed grew into something else entirely. What began as a courtesy metastasized into a strategy. Illegal alien became undocumented immigrant. Later, even person without papers. I have not heard that before, but dear God, you want to talk about softening the language? Okay. Saying plus illegal alien and undocumented immigrants aren't quite the same thing. It says, crime was reframed as a clerical mishap, trespass as missing paperwork. The reality did not change, but the story around it did. Examples abound. Insane became mentally ill, then mentally challenged, then differently abled. That was one of the things George Carlin used, was differently abled. And he talked about the disabled thing. Yeah, it says, then neurodivergent, until autism and psychosis were jumbled together in one soft word. Poor became underprivileged, then disadvantaged, then at risk. Prisoner became inmate, then justice-involved individual, which I have heard, which is so dumb. Then returning citizen. I haven't heard that one, returning citizen. The prostitute became sex worker, and in some corners, even entrepreneur. Really? An entrepreneur of sex? Okay. But yeah, how prostitutes became sex worker is just like, that's one that just is like, okay, it's a prostitute. Just use that. This is the euphemism treadmill. When one term wears out, when the public begins to hear the fact beneath the phrase, a new one is minted. The old word is declared harsh, the new word is declared humane. Yet within a few years, the cycle repeats because the reality has not changed. What wears out is not the word, but the illusion. It says it is not the left that does this. The right has its own euphemisms. Collateral damage for civilian deaths, enhanced interrogation for torture, tax relief to imply all taxation is a burden. Yeah, I'd probably go with that. But these are largely the tools of politicians, and politicians are expected to spin. On the left, the machinery runs far deeper. Academia coins the terms. Bureaucracies write them into law and HR manuals. Media repeat them until they sound normal. Corporate legal departments twist definitions to dodge liability. Activist groups pressure test phrases and pump them into campaigns. This is why the treadmill feels relentless. It is not just about not just spin, but a systematic remapping of language by the institutions that set the tone for daily life. Where the right deploys euphemism as a shield, the left deploys it as an ecosystem. It says the social cost is collapse of language or of dialogue itself. Why did I say language? It's not even anywhere near there. It says what one man calls a crime, another calls justice involvement. What one woman calls a killing, another calls health care. I see what you did there. It says the disagreement is not over facts, but over vocabulary. This is argumentative collapse. Debates built on different assumptions, where no amount of logic can bridge the gap. Logic can be disproven like mathematics. Beliefs built on euphemism cannot. The human cost is silence. Teachers, workers, and neighbors police their own speech, never sure which words are safe. Conversations shrink to trivia. Honest questions go unasked. Truth-tellers become pariahs while liars are rewarded for their fluency in code. Even news reporting is hostage. Announcers refuse to describe a suspect as black for fear of censure. They have no trouble describing him as white when it fits the narrative, as with the Manhattan shooter on July 28, 2025. When words can no longer be trusted to tell us what our eyes can see, reality itself is obscured. Writers saw this danger long ago. Orwell's 1984 gave us newspeak. Vocabulary narrowed until rebellion became unthinkable. Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451 showed firemen not only burning books, but flattening language into slogans and jingles. I think I read Fahrenheit 451 in high school, and I haven't read it since then. Because, in high school you tend to forget everything that... you remember what the books were, you forget about them, though, a lot. I did read 1984 for the first time only like a few years ago, and it's as good and as harrowing as you've heard. It says, these stand as the genetic core of the trope. Orwell warned our words might be stolen, Bradbury that they might be drowned in noise. Later works carried the torch. Delaney's Babel 17, Vance's The Languages of Pow, not that Vance that you're thinking. Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, Myville's Embassy Town, all meditations on how controlling language means controlling thought. I have not read any of those. It says, how do we fight back? The answer is not complicated. First bullet, speak plainly. Precision is not cruelty, it is clarity. Bullet 2, refuse the treadmill. When new terms appear, ask what truth the old ones revealed. 3, expose the trick. Call out language laundering when you see it. Reclaim the commons is the fourth bullet. It says words belong to everyone. Using them truthfully restores the shared inheritance. And the final bullet here says, teach the young. Children must know that words mean things. To pass down plain speech is to pass down freedom. It says Orwell warned us that words could be stolen. Bradbury warned us that words could be flattened. These were warnings, not instructions, yet here we are. The way out is not through committees or commissions. It is through courage, the courage to speak plainly and truthfully. Call things what they are. Refuse the treadmill. Teach your children that clarity is not cruelty, that truth is not hate, that words are tools for the free, not toys for the powerful. The fight for language is the fight for reality itself. If we lose our words, we lose our world. The left's euphemism treadmill isn't about kindness, it's about control. Change the words, change the thought, change the world. Orwell and Bradbury warned us, now it's here. If we lose our words, we lose our world. Yeah, and I mean, there's even another one that I thought of while I was reading this that the left likes to use that the first time I heard it, I was like, can they actually say that? And it's when they say people of color. Okay, and I'm not going to say the reverse of that, just because, people might get their panties in a bunch. But if you switch, say, people of color and say put color in front of people, okay, and take out the of, that's what certain folks used to be called. But then it was like they just switched the words around, even though it means literally the same thing. And now it's okay? Like, no, I still am not comfortable using the POC, the POC term. Okay, I'm not even comfortable using the other one. But they mean the exact same thing, but one of them is okay, the other one is not. So make it make sense. Anyway, let me know what you think about this in the comments below. If you have any other examples, I'd like to hear them. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.